Okay, these three videos, the next three video, can be looked at as a little mini-series, if you will. They're connected. This video is going to be more technical. We're going to look at the different chord shapes, the different ways we can play the same chords, and the same phrases, the same patterns within a song. Then we're going to apply those variations to a couple of songs in the following videos: Tiptoe Through the Tulips in the next video, and Twilight Time, the one after that. We're going to use the sheet music from Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Just going to go through the chords in chronological order from the start to finish and see the different ways we can play those and see what's available to us when we arrange the song to suit our own musical taste and our own ability. Try to find the position, the chord variation in position, shape that pleases us and is playable. All right, well, we're starting off in the key of C. That's on the 5th fret of the ukulele. First chord is C, C major. Now, we discovered early on, I think in about the 5th video, we looked at what chords would result from various shapes. Now we're going to reverse that. We're going to find out what shapes can we use to play the same chord. So the major chord, as we realized, we can play the 4 chord and the 5 chord just above the root with a +2 shape and pluck in the 2 middle strings. Okay, well, that applies to any major chord, not just the 4 and 5 chords. So, C major, 4 frets below, middle strings, +2 shape. Now, since I started this thing, I found another way to play that. 4 frets above is be a loose 2-finger chord. We're going to pluck strings number 4 and number 2. Not a lot of music in that chord, but it works very well as a passing chord as part of a run. And we'll demonstrate that later when we start to arrange the song. Okay, and catching up with the baritone, of course, we have the same. The C is on the 10th fret. 4 frets below. 4 frets above would be 14th fret or the 2nd fret. And then after that is the 6th chord, which the sheet music shows as A7th. Well, that's a fixed chord, one of those bonus chords. 2nd fret with the 4th string open gives us the 7th. Here's the major and the 7th. Well, again, let's go 6 frets above. There's that 2-note version. That actually can be useful, again, in some arrangements. I think we're going to see that in Twilight Time. Okay, and of course, the 6th chord, 3. The 6th chord is 3 frets below. But we again have a loose 2-note chord. There's the A, here's the A up here. That might work. Let's see. Interesting. Okay. Now that's 2, and the 2 chord is, of course, here's your root. 2 chords right above it, 2 frets above is D, but it's a minor, D minor. Well, there's the +2 minor shape. Well, if you don't have 2 fingers, 4 frets below D major is D minor, plus 2 middle strings. Okay, and let's see, 2, 6, and the 2 chord, the same thing. The D, of course, is our root. D minor, we can play with 1 finger, or 1 finger here. That's kind of slick. So it's all right. Then, of course, and then it goes to the 5 chord, G7th. By the way, I may have undersold the use of the 7th for the 5 chord as a dominant chord earlier on in some of the songs where the 5 chord was completely covered by 1 finger. For example, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We went in the key of C on the 5th fret. like the G major, it was brighter. The 5 chord does call for a G7th, and I suggested perhaps saving that for the very end of the song to resolve it. Bright major, bright major, and now the dominant 7th. Now, when we played in the key of G, then D appeared. On the 7th fret became our 5 chord. And I just used D major, which I usually do. But sometimes we have the option. We have that 7th. Remember, the bluesy 7th is just two notes, the 2 middle strings. That kind of works, I think, from the root when we're climbing, as opposed. But as the 5 chord, we might want to try the bright 3-note 7th. We go twinkle, twinkle. It is an option. So let's not forget, we do have that 7th available to us as an option for the 5 chord. Again, I just didn't want us to think we don't ever play a 7th up here. We do. Okay, and of course, the 5th fret. G7th is the 5th fret on the baritone. And we might want to try that 3-note 7th. Let's see what that sounds like. Tiptoe through the tulips. I'm going to play the lazy 2-finger D minor right above the A chord. Tiptoe through the tulips. And there's my 5 chord. I'll play it as a major. Interesting. So from my 2-note 1-finger D minor, I just put my little finger on the 1st string, and I've got the 3-note version, the bright 7th of that 5 chord, the G. So now the second line, I'm going to look at the line as a phrase rather than individual chords. We are going to look at the individual chords within it, but first, the way it's written is from your window. C, E7th, F minor. Well, I have trouble getting the 2 fingertips on there for that bonus, that fixed E7th rather. If I do it quickly, it's tough. So I may just play E major. It sounds fine. And again, if you don't have a 2nd finger, can't play the true F minor, just play it 4 frets below, middle strings. So C, E, F, minor, and back to the refrain. C. Now, I prefer doing is I have a 2nd finger, so I go put my little finger in the act at the 2nd string and play the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. I have a C augmented. Slide the shape up to the 6th and 7th frets and pluck the 2 middle strings for F major. Little finger goes over to the 1st string as F minor 6. Pretty elegant. And if you're feeling real limber, you might try this. A turnaround. The most basic turnaround might be over 2 measures, do 4 chord, in this case F, G7th. So now the bridge. The bridge is kind of a handful. The bridge kicks it off with a C7th. That's kind of our lead in to the bridge. It goes. There's a 7th, and then it goes right to the F6. I remember the 6th chord. The major 6 As we modify the major chord, it's either 4 frets below that major that we're modifying in a +2 shape, or it's 4 frets above in a +3 shape. So F is our major chord that we're modifying. That's either 4 frets below, +2, or 4 frets above, which is the 14th fret, +3. Well, the 14th fret, again, is the same as the 2nd fret. C7th, knee deep, hold that deep, and we go to an F sharp diminished. Well, that's quite a leap. It's way up here. Kind of extreme sounding and quite a jump. Now, it'll work fine with ukulele tuning because, again, you're only moving a couple of fingers and you're staying in the same octave. It's just a very subtle change. What we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the magic of diminished and augmented chords now. For any given diminished chord, that pattern repeats every 3 frets. So we take that F sharp diminished, the same notes in that, play 3 frets below, give us the same 3 notes. Maybe inverted, a different octave, but they're the same notes. 3 more frets, 3 more frets. So we have 4 different positions we can play a given diminished chord. It's not technically the same chord. The music theorists will tell you they have different names. However, they are the same notes. For our purposes, they're interchangeable. It's whatever sounds best and is more accessible. So I find that C diminished is the same 3 notes as F sharp diminished, and it's right here. Oh, let's not forget the augmented chord patterns as well. Now, we said with the diminished chords, we find a given diminished chord. The pattern inverts and repeats every 3 frets. Well, a similar pattern emerges for the augmented chords. For example, here's C major, and I augmented it for the 2nd line with my little finger. I covered the 2nd string and played 4-3-2. An augmented chord repeats, inverts, and repeats every 4 frets. So again, you've got 3 positions with 12 frets, and every 4th fret you repeat, so you've got 3 positions. You can play a given augmented chord in. Knee is on the C7. Knee deep is F6. Deep is my C diminished. And then G6, which is just 2 frets above F6. A7th. And then B7th. E minor. Now, here's another little diversion here. Minor, E minor and G6. Different chord names with the same notes in them. For all practical purposes, and again for our purposes, they're interchangeable. E minor is the relative minor of G major. Well, we're in the key of G. We're tuned to G. 3 frets below our root is our relative minor. That note is an E, so we'll play an E minor. E minor is the relative minor of G major. What does that mean? Okay, E minor. Here's a weird coincidence. Here's G major. Well, 3 frets below plus 2 shape, 4 frets below rather, plus 2 shape is our G6. This is the 6th of our major. Interesting. Well, 3 frets below, same shape is E minor. The relative minor of any major key, it starts, the root is 3 frets below. With our tuning, our fretboard, we start from the root of our major, 3 frets down. It's an E minor. What does that mean? Well, it really means, for our purposes, the E minor chord and the G6 chord are completely interchangeable. Whatever sounds best and is more accessible to us is the one we can choose to use. There's an E minor, that's a G6. E minor, G6. E minor, G6. Okay, well, Relative minor, what that means is the key of E minor uses the G major scale. Well, the major scale, remember that's 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. So we have G plus 2, plus 2, plus 1, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 1. G major, right? Well, let's start on E, see what happens. We start on E, but we then join the G major scale. E minor. There is a relationship, a special relationship between the relative minor and its relative major. We're going to talk about that in a subsequent video. But right now, what we need to know for the purpose of arranging these songs is the E minor and the G6 are completely interchangeable, as are the D major and the B minor. D, C sharp, C, B. 3 frets below the D. That's it. B, B minor. D6, D6, B minor. Okay. Okay, we've got the basics now for arranging Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and actually, I think all the chords we're going to need for Twilight Time as well. Yeah. Wow. When you do practice, give some time for free play. Just have some fun. Just noodle around with the instrument. I probably spend as much time just fooling around as I do in formal practice. Okay. Okay. Well, how about you guys? I'm ready for a break. Let's go out with a little bit of Western swing here.